Rose is the color halfway between red and magenta on the HSV color wheel, also known as the RGB color wheel, on which it is at hue angle of 330 degrees. Rose is one of the tertiary colors on the HSV color wheel. The complementary color of rose is spring green. Sometimes rose is quoted instead as the web-safe color FFOOCC, which is closer to magenta than to red, corresponding to a hue angle near 320 degrees, or the web-safe color FFOO77, which is closer to red than magenta, corresponding to a hue angle of about 340 degrees. Etymology of rose. The first recorded use of rose as a color name in English was in 1382. The etymology of the color name rose is the same as that of the name of the rose flower. The name originates from Latin rosa, borrowed through a scan from colonial Greek in southern Italy, hudorn, from Aramaic wurda, from Assyrian wetinu, from Old Iranian warda. Variations of rose. Misty rose. At right is displayed the web color misty rose. This is written as Mist Rose in HTML code for computer display. The color name Misty Rose first came into use in 1987, when this color was formulated as one of the X11 colors, which in the early 1990s became known as the X11 web colors. Tea Rose. At right is displayed the color tea rose. This is the tint of the color that is used in interior design. This color is popular in interior design for painting bedrooms, especially among women. There is a different color also called tea rose, which is the color of an orange rose called a tea rose. This other color called tea rose is displayed in the article called Variations of Orange as Tea Rose. The first recorded use of tea rose as a color name in English was in 1884. The source of this color is the ISCC-NBS Dictionary of Color Names. A Eurocolor sample of tea rose, Tickle Me Pink. The color Tickle Me Pink is displayed at right. This color was formulated by Crayola in 1993. Persian Pink. Since the color rose is so well loved in Persia, some shades of rose are named after Persia, such as the light tone of rose at right that is called Persian Pink. This color is very popular in women's fashion. The first recorded use of Persian Pink as a color name in English was in 1923. Rose Pink. At right is displayed the color rose pink. The first recorded use of rose pink as a color name in English was in 1761. Rose Bonbon. At right is displayed the color that is called in French rose bonbon. This translates loosely into English as candy rose or candy pink, or more specifically as bonbon rose or bonbon pink. A euro presumably referring to bonbons that are coated with icing that is colored rose bonbon. Rose bonbon is a tone of rose that is popular in France. Brilliant Rose. At right is a Crayola color formulated in 1949. Originally it was called Brilliant Rose, but the name was changed in 1958 to Magenta. The original name is more accurate since this color, having a hue code of 329, is much closer to rose than magenta. Thulian Pink. At right is displayed the color Thulian Pink. This color is also called Thulite Pink. The first recorded use of Thulite Pink as a color name in English was in 1912. The term Thulian Pink refers to the land of Thule. Sample of Thulian Pink. ISCC-NBS Dictionary of Color Names. A Eurocolor sample of Thulite Pink. Another name for this color is First Lady. The first use of First Lady as a color name in English was in 1948 when the Plottier color system was inaugurated in 1948. Brink Pink. At right is displayed the color Brink Pink. This color was formulated by Crayola in 1998. French Rose. The color French Rose is also called France Rose. The first recorded use of France Rose as a color name in English was in 1926. Color sample of French Rose. This color matches exactly the color sample shown as France Rose in the 1930 book by Mertz and Paul, A Dictionary of Color. Razzmatazz. Displayed at right is the color razzmatazz. This color is a rich shade of crimson rose. Razzmatazz was a new Crayola crayon color chosen in 1993 as a part of the Name the New Colors contest. It was named by then 5-year-old Laura Bartholomew Hill. She was the youngest winner of Crayola's Name the New Colors contest. Razzle Dazzle Rose. Displayed at right is the color Razzle Dazzle Rose. This color is a vivid tone of rose tending toward magenta. The color Razzle Dazzle Rose was formulated by Crayola in 1990. Persian Rose, the color Persian Rose is displayed at right. The first recorded use of Persian Rose as a color name in English was in 1922. This color matches the color of the Persian Rose color sample in a dictionary of color, a highly saturated color close to the outer surface of the color sphere, just below the equator of the color sphere, about halfway between rose and magenta. The color Persian Rose may also be described as a color close to the purple boundary of the CIE chromaticity diagram, about halfway between rose and magenta. Fuchsia Rose. Fuchsia Rose is the color that was chosen as the 2001 Pantone Color of the Year by Pantone. The source of this color is the Pantone Textile Paper Extended Color List, color number 17-2031 TPXA Fuchsia Rose. Rose Red. The color Rose Red is displayed at right. The source of this color is the Pantone Textile Paper Extended Color List, color number 18-1852 TPXA Fuchsia Rose. Dogwood Rose. The color Dogwood Rose is sometimes called Dogwood Red. Dogwood Rose in nature. Raspberry Rose. At right is displayed the color Raspberry Rose. The source of this color is ISCCNBS Dictionary of Color Names, a color sample of Raspberry Rose. China Rose. At right is displayed the color China Rose. The color China Rose is a deep tone of rose. The first recorded use of China Rose as a color name in English was in 1925. The source of this color is ISCCNBS Dictionary of Color Names, color sample of China Rose. Rose Quartz. There is a grayish shade of rose that is called rose quartz. The first recorded use of rose quartz as a color name in English was in 1926. Source of color, ISCCNBS Dictionary of Color Names, a color sample of rose quartz. Rosy Brown. Displayed at right is the web color Rosy Brown. The color name Rosy Brown first came into use in 1987, when this color was formulated as one of the X11 colors, which in the early 1990s became known as the X11 web colors. Old Rose. At right is displayed the color Old Rose, also known as Ashes of Rose. Ashes of Rose was a popular Victorian color. The first recorded use of Old Rose as a color name in English was in 1892. Source of color, ISCCNBS Dictionary of Color Names, a color sample of Old Rose. ISCCNBS Dictionary of Color Names, a color sample of Ashes of Rose. Rose Veil. At right is displayed the color Rose Veil. The first recorded use of Rose Veil as a color name in English was in 1923. Source of color, ISCCNBS Dictionary of Color Names, a color sample of Rose Veil. Cordovan. Cordovan is a rich medium dark shade of rose. The first recorded use of cordovan as a color name in English was in 1925. Rose Taupe. The color displayed at right is Rose Taupe. The first recorded use of Rose Taupe as a color name in English was in 1924. Source of color, ISCCNBS Dictionary of Color Names, a color sample of Rose Taupe. Rose Ebony. At right is displayed the color Rose Ebony. The first recorded use of Rose Ebony as a color name in English was in 1924. Source of color, ISCCNBS Dictionary of Color Names, a color sample of Rose Ebony. Rosewood. The color rosewood is named after rosewood. The first recorded use of rosewood as a color name in English was in 1892. For a depiction of the wide variety of colors exhibited by actual rosewood, go to the 16 samples of actual rosewood depicted on the following website. Rose in Human Culture, Geography. British historian John William Bergen famously described the Jordanian city of Petra as being colored rose, writing, "Match me such marvels save an eastern clime, a rose-red city half as old as time." Marrakech, Morocco is called the Rose City because many of its buildings are colored various tones of rose. Portland, Oregon is nicknamed the Rose City for the number of roses and rose gardens that thrive there. Heraldry. The heraldic color of rose is a modern innovation, mostly used in Canadian heraldry. Music. La Vie en Rose was the signature song of French singer Permel Dith Piaf. Piaf first popularized the song in 1946. It has been covered by many artists since. Rose-Colored Glasses is the 1978 debut album by country singer-songwriter John Conlee. A cult, according to New Age author C.W. Leadbeater, who claimed to be clairvoyant, of the 7 types of etheric atoms that he claimed to be able to observe with his third eye circulating through the human etheric body. The flow of the rose-colored etheric atoms from the sun into the rainbow-colored spleen chakra is the most important since all the other etheric atoms are derived from it and the rose-colored atom vivifies the nervous system. Leadbeater also asserted that humans feel good around pine trees because they radiate more rose-colored etheric atoms than any other plant. Politics. The revolution in which current Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili came to power in 2003 was called the Rose Revolution. Religion. In the Latin Rite of the Catholic Church, priests may wear rose-colored vestments on Gaudete Sunday and Luteer Sunday. Royal palaces. The Salon of Mercury in the Grand Apartment du Roi in the Versailles Palace is decorated with rose-colored wallpaper. Vexillology. The Spanish province of Leon has a rose-colored flag. The ensign of the Ukrainian Ground Forces has a rose-colored background file, ensign of the Ukrainian Ground Forces SVG. See also, amaranth, cerise, fuchsia, pink, Toulouse, La Ville Rose, list of colors, references. External links, ISCC-NBS Dictionary of Color Names, a Euro-color dictionary used by stamp collectors to identify the colors of stamps, a Euro-C sample of the color, dark Persian rose displayed on indicated page. ISCC-NBS Dictionary of Color Names, a Euro-color sample of tea rose.